Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Rye. In today's video, I'm back in my Bismark and World of Warships. If you followed my Facebook, you'll probably know that I made a post a couple of days ago. This last week in World of Warships has just not been very good for me. Not at all. Basically, I've had battles like the one you're about to see, except the ending ends up being a different result. And it's been quite frustrating this entire time. The battle here is Two Brothers Standard Battle Mode, which means pick a side and push. Starting off the battle here, I've basically announced that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold on to this side of the map. So if my teammates want to come over here and assist with that, that's fantastic. If the enemy team has a very weak force on this side of the map, then instead of just holding, I'll go ahead and push. Likewise, if they have their whole enemy force over here, then I will do my best to just delay them long enough for the other side of the map to push. It's important to utilize this tactic and try and coordinate with your teammates if you can to plan this out. Pay attention to that mini-map. Make sure that you've got a group of people on each side, and the smaller group knows that they're either supposed to hold if they get flanked by the majority of the team as long as possible, or that they should go ahead and push if the enemy forces have light resistance. I'm detected by something. I'm outside of detection range for those battleships, which tells me there's got to be one of those pesky destroyers nearby, or possibly even a stealthy cruiser. The enemy team does have two Atlantas, and we're going to end up seeing both of those as this battle progresses. The enemy team has started opening fire at the Pensacola, and of course, why wouldn't you? It's a Pensacola. It's easy pickings. I managed to fire off shots of that Colorado in the distance and hit him for a reasonable amount of damage considering the angle, which is a little surprising. Sure enough, the enemy destroyer that was spotting me has popped up, and he's just inside of secondary battery range, so my secondary batteries are having at him. The poor bastard's managed to beach himself. He's trying to smoke up, but I don't think it's going to matter. Get shots out there, but they're too late as friendly teammate manages to secure the kill on that destroyer. One destroyer down, that's fantastic. We love that to be the case, especially considering there's so few destroyers in a matchup like this. They can really cause some problems, really turn the tide of the battle. Unfortunately for me, the second enemy destroyer is over on this side of the map as well, which kind of brings up the question, how the hell did the destroyer on the other side of the map not manage to push up? Oh well, those are questions that will never be answered. I have been taking fire. I was set on fire there, but I popped my repair consumable. Basically took no damage as a result of that fire. Didn't take any additional damage. I don't like sailing towards the map edge here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my ship turned around. I'm going to get my guns turned around, and I'm still being spotted. There's the second enemy destroyer, enemy Benson up there, and he is just wasting our friendly destroyer on this side. He's managed to kill him. I got my secondaries off at him. Unfortunately, he disappears into his smoke screen, or behind friendly smoke screen, and behind an island. The advantage here, though, is that I know he's back over there. So that means I'm going to be extra cautious when I'm coming around these islands. When I'm detected, I'm going to be constantly looking for the potential of being torpedoed by that Benson. The enemy team isn't really pushing all that heavily, and they don't seem like they have too much of a force presence on this side of the map, but considering that most of my team has gone to the other side of the map, it's one of those situations where we're just kind of engaging at standoff ranges and seeing if we can whittle down the other guy just enough that we can have an advantage when we push. I don't really want to push up because that enemy Benson is still back over there. And with all of those islands, there's a strong potential that he'll be able to pop out and see me. So I'm going to try and take shots off of that Gneisenau off in the distance there. With any luck, I'll manage to nail him. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and continue pushing back towards the home capture zone. Friendly teammates, though, they have pushed up a little bit. Our New Mexico got a little too overconfident, a little too aggressive, and he's pushed up pretty far, and he is taking a beating, mostly from one of the Atlantas. Enemy battleship off in the distance. I think that's the enemy Bismark. He's way back over there, within range and broadside on, so I'm going to go ahead and try and get shots off, but you know, it's the Bismarck, it's at range. There's no guarantee I'm going to hit him with anything, and in fact, I did manage to get one ricochet. But now I have other problems. As you can see, there is one of the two Atlantas that's just spamming high explosive fire at our poor New Mexico and our poor Pensacola. And our Pensacola looks like he isn't going to last much longer because of it. Our team has managed to lose a destroyer equal to their destroyer, and there we've lost one of our cruisers. So now the enemy team has the advantage. More importantly, they have the advantage on this side, and with two battleships and two basically machine gun cruisers, they could potentially push this side, and they also have that destroyer. Managed to nail that Atlanta with a nice fat citadel. Not enough to kill him, but I'm hoping he disappears behind that island shortly so that he can stop lighting me on fire. Which is the case. He's out of line of sight. I no longer have to worry about him. But of course, there's that Gneisenau. The Bismarck's still back over there, and they still have that Benson somewhere. So I'm trying to fall back. I'm trying to group up with the rest of the friendly fleet over here. Make myself not as much of a target. And as you can see, it's starting to work as the enemy team is focusing their fire on the ships that are behind me. Second enemy Atlanta, you know it's the second one because he's not half dead. Fire shots at him, only managed to get a couple of over penetrations. I absolutely hate when that ends up being the case because you know the Atlanta is basically just a floating citadel. It's like the Mogami, but it's smaller and a little more maneuverable. So not landing shots on it, very disappointing. That enemy Gneisenau, though, he's gotten close enough for my secondaries to just start opening up on him, and they're going to do their job. We've managed to take out one of their cruisers, but they've also managed to sink one of our other ships, which means they're still at the advantage. And this is a trend that I'm afraid is going to continue the rest of the battle. They've managed to push up on this side of the map, and they've also managed to push up on the opposite side of the map. As you can see, my team basically was unable to push and turned around and all ran back to the cap. I'm kind of guilty of that, but I was also on the side that had fewer ships, dealing with a destroyer, 2 battleships, and 2 cruisers. Managed to hit that Atlanta for a citadel off in the distance there, and friendly teammate manages to almost finish him off. It would be fantastic if I could just nail the guy and take him out of the game, equal up these team scores. But we've lost yet another ship. Oh, this is starting to go very, very pear-shaped. Right when I'm about to get shots out on that almost dead Atlanta, disappears. He stopped firing. Very, very intelligent play. You know, especially if you've got things that are shooting at you and you're nearly dead. Don't risk it. Just stop firing. Drop back into that concealment if you know there's nothing close to you. We still do have a friendly destroyer. He's somewhere out here on the map. He is a Mahan, though, so he could have a bit of a difficult time dealing with something like the Bismarck or dealing with that Benson. Though, between my secondaries and the other friendly destroyer who's now dead, that Benson is pretty low health. It could be argued, it depends on how you play it. The enemy Gneisenau, he's backing up for his life, but you know what? You're never going to go as quickly backwards as I can forwards. You're not a Dunkirk. So my secondaries are constantly in range of this guy. They're going to continue opening up, and as you can see, I'm racking up those secondary hits. Managed to set him on fire a few other times, but I am detected, and the enemy Benson, he's taking every possible advantage of his smoke screen and me still being detected, so he's going to continue shooting at me. I'm also taking shots in there from that nearly dead Atlanta. Come on! Got to kill this guy. That rate of fire is withering, and the fact that he's managing to set me on fire multiple times is really annoying. I pop my hydroacoustic, the Benson is in sight, managed to finish off that Atlanta. Sweet, sweet justice. Get my secondary batteries focused on to the Benson, and I try to make a turn because I suspect that there might be torpedoes headed my direction, and when I make that turn, the enemy Gneisenau takes the opportunity to punish me for it. He is almost dead. He is still in range of secondaries. Since the Benson has managed to drop back into concealment, very smart Benson player, I've got my secondaries back on to that Gneisenau, and they've managed to set him on fire yet again, and they're just racking up the hits. With any luck, I'll be able to get a close quarters expert or burn him down. There's yet another fire on that poor guy. Here come the torpedoes that I suspected might be coming from the Benson. I've still got my hydro active, which means saw those things ways out. Finished off the Gneisenau with secondary fire damage. Didn't actually get the kill with the secondaries. A little disappointed I didn't get that close quarters expert, because the flags are always very, very helpful. Looking at the situation, though, completely outnumbered over here. There is still an enemy Bismarck somewhere around here. There's the enemy Colorado who's pushing up, and the enemy Benson who's back over there, who's taking shots at me. I'm going to keep my ship angled as long as that Benson's going to keep himself spotted by shooting at me. Hopefully my secondaries can hit him. Enemy Bismarck, he's taking shots at me. I know he wants to kill me. I'm basically half health right now. This could be a problem. Managed to return the favor and hit him for a little bit of damage, but not a substantial amount. Though he does just run into the sinking hull of his friendly Gneisenau. So that does allow me to get another decent hit on him as I try to run away. And I'm trying to run away, keeping my ass angled at all of these ships. The enemy Benson is still within range of my secondaries, but he's so far out there, he can just basically do aggressive maneuvering, and most of my secondary shots are going to miss him. And pretty shortly, he's going to drop outside of my detectability range and his detectability range. So my secondaries are going to be worthless even if he's still spotted. But there's our friendly Mahan. He's pushing up there. He's full strength. He should not have any problem dealing with that Benson if he plays it right. If he plays it smart, that Benson should be a goner. Looking at the team situation, we've managed to equal it out pretty well. They're up by one ship, though, and they're still pushing up on the opposite flank. So, since I'm already headed back this direction, I can get my guns pointed back this way. The only two ships that are over here that are pushing up are an enemy York that, as you can see, is half a dead, so easy pickings for a nice battleship, and a mostly full-strength Bayern. Bayern's a little bit slower, and he is stock. So, as long as I angle well and keep him at secondary range for me, but not for him, I shouldn't have any issues taking out that Bayern. I've got the York flagged for secondaries, but he's behind this island. I try to fire shots over that island to hit him. Don't manage to do it. But as I come around from the headland of this island, and he starts pushing up as well, my secondaries are going to open up. Take a look at this New Orleans. This New Orleans hasn't moved the entire battle. In fact, looking at his gun situation, I don't think he logged in to the battle at all. I think he tried and had his game crash, and he was never able to get back in the game. And that's just unfortunate. You hate when that happens, and you on the team hate when that is the case as well. That New Orleans, though, AFK though he is, and the damage he is taking, is actually going to serve an incredible purpose as we get into the last minutes of this battle. Friendly ships are falling left and right. We're now down to myself, that Tirpitz over there, and an AFK New Orleans. This basically means it's 2 versus 5. And the Tirpitz has decided to abandon me to my fate to deal with this York and this Bayern, plus all of the angry ships that are behind me. Manage to take out that York. Now I've got to deal with this Bayern, but I've got to do it without getting him too much broadside, while simultaneously keeping myself angled to the ships that are behind me, because they still have a Colorado and still have a Bismarck, and their shots can hurt. And at this point, I don't have a repair ability anymore. I've burned them all. Dodge the torpedoes in from the York. Makes me happy that I managed to not die to those, because right now it's looking like a bad situation. Now our AFK New Orleans is still alive, and the enemy Benson has popped into our cap. But that New Orleans held off that Benson gaining cap points just long enough for our friendly Tirpitz, who's abandoned me by the way, to get into their cap. And that was an excellent decision on his point to try and get in there and cap. Basically, it's the only way we're going to win this battle. Managed to wreck this Bayern with a nice fat standard penetration damage. No citadels on him. I mean, it's a German battleship, really hard to do. And he's not making it very difficult for me to do it. I've also got secondaries blazing away on him, setting him on fire. There's another big hit. There's my high caliber to go with my Confederate, earned a little bit earlier. I mean, just look at this. I'm well above 140,000 damage done. And there are still 4 enemy ships left. Soon to be 3 enemy ships left. Because this Bayern is not going to survive this engagement. And as he tries to turn and get his rear guns to point at me, I take the opportunity right into his bow and finish him off. Now I've got a problem. There are 3 enemy ships left. I know where all 3 of them are. They are in our cap. There's myself, who's currently the only one in a position to defend the base. I don't have a lot of health left. This is one of those... This is what makes you a truly heroic player, and somebody who is going to win or lose, come out on top of the team for XP earned, compliments, damage done. Like, you can lose the match, you can lose 8 matches in a row, and still hold a Unicum status because of what I'm doing right here, which is, I could drop off and disappear into concealment. I could do that. And the enemy team's about to win. I could save myself. I could just get the Dreadnought. But no, I'm going to make a concerted effort to try and hit these bastards and reset the cap. And I managed to do it. I managed to reset the cap on the Bismarck. I managed to reset the cap points on the Colorado. The only ship that's gaining cap points is that Benson. But just pay attention right there. You can see it. The cap dropped back. I don't know what just happened that caused that Benson to lose a few points, but that loss of just a few points, that's put us in the lead. And as long as I can keep hitting these ships, these other 2 ships, and resetting their points, we can win it. Can I do it? I've got to hit this guy. They're almost there. We're almost there. I managed to hit him. I reset him just in the nick of time, and there it is. Victory. 180,000 damage done. 350,000 credits earned, Confederate, high caliber, and Dreadnought. 4 enemy ships killed, and a valiant defense on my side. Well over 2,000 base XP earned. That is how you really play a battle, and that's how you hold a defensive line. Just keep moving, keep holding that defensive line and take advantage of the opportunities when they present themselves. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me and my channel, you can do so by visiting my Patreon and donating there. And as always, you can find the links for those in the description down below. I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.